excuses that we make to keep on drinking in order to that keeps us in the cycle, keeps us in addiction. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Josh, living life alcohol free. If you're returning, thank you guys so much for being here and participating. And yeah, we'll get a little bit of dialogue going, back and forth going. It's my second Wednesday in a row doing this, and I was happy about the turnout last week. I was grateful that we had the turnout that we did. The back and forth was awesome, and thank you so much, Josh, for the super thanks. And last week and today, if you missed today's video, I went into detail a little bit about the boredom issue and how we're afraid a lot of times to stop drinking because of the prospect of getting bored, being bored. A life that there's just, a life of not drinking can seem like it is not going to be fun. It's possible. I mean, it just depends on our perspective. The poll that I took the other day, I talked about the commitment maybe being something that was a worrying issue for you to quit drinking. Was it going to be the boredom aspect? Was it going to be the commitment that it was going to take in order to get there? It was going to be the crutch that we give up. When we give up alcohol, we give up our crutch that we lean on heavily in order to be able to cope with life. So, but overwhelmingly, boredom was the top concern, the top worry, the top whatever you want to call it. What makes us anxious about quitting alcohol? And if we think about, and I posted that video this morning, and there were already a few comments. One comment being a lot of different things that we can do to kind of get away from that concern about being bored. Welcome, Rick. Good morning. And he had a lot of suggestions. And if you're here, anti-AA recovery, welcome in. And yeah, that is, I mean, all those things are great suggestions. I mean, we can find, if we can find things that we like to do. Welcome, Shadow, welcome in. And I would appreciate, yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep on making these videos free. I mean, they're all, that's not going to go away. What is taking place is the fact that I mean, I want to make this my job at some point. So I just became monetized last month, and since it's brought up, I'll just get right into it. I mean, the end of my video, I talked a little bit about super thanks, becoming a member, simple, I mean, donations of any amount, I mean, are fine, but I made this channel for God's glory. I made it because I wanted to just, there were a lot of options that I had to get into this. Coaching and mentoring would be one of them, and a certificate through the state would be another thing that I thought about doing. But writing books and making videos, those are the kinds of things that bring me the most satisfaction. They're the things that I'm most passionate about. And ultimately, this will be a business. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it's a matter of how, kind of. But yeah, so anything that you want to put towards this channel is really going to go to great things. And that's a promise, that's a guarantee. And but yeah, so let's get into this topic of boredom and how it plays a role in our thinking about quitting alcohol, and how it's kind of a roadblock. And what I had to say about it to anti-AA recovery, and I think, well, I know that he got his name because he's not into AA, and I agree with that to a certain extent. I mean, For me, if you find AA a helpful tool for you, I mean, by all means, use it. That's what it is. That's what it's there for. Some of the things I don't agree with, but there's certainly some philosophies in AA that I do agree with. And if it's helpful for you to not drink, uh, then by all means, I mean, use it. But some of the things that were, suggested were, exercise, prayer, meditation, um, exercise, just finding things that you enjoy doing and doing those things, and there's no way to be bored. But the thing is, I feel like it takes a deeper approach, because the thing is uh, when we are making the excuse that we're gonna be bored, I feel like it's kind of, something that we use as a way to keep us drinking. We make these excuses like it's going to be bored, it's going to take a lot of commitment, it's going to take we're going to lose our crutch, we're going to lose those things that help us in our life stay alcohol free. We're going to, it's what if. And when you put it all together like that, there's no way we're going to ever be able to put alcohol down, because we're just making a lot of excuses. And for me, and I know that I can give that weight now, because I'm 5+ years alcohol free. But even in that first year, I could recognize that I was making excuses a lot of those years. And but it wasn't my volition. I mean, when I look back on those times, it's like I needed alcohol, or at least I felt like I needed alcohol to deal with life, to cope with life. So it's not all up to us. I mean, alcohol is an addictive substance. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And if we have that personality that leeches onto things to cope, it's going to be hard for us to change that behavior and change our patterns. We have certainty when we reach for alcohol, even though it causes us a problem and it causes us pain and misery. Hey, at least we know that that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's something that we can control. So it keeps us in that addiction. And yeah, we find solace in the first few hours of drinking. Maybe we find solace in it for an entire day or night, but there's always going to be a fallout from it. And I don't care what anybody says. We get hangovers. We're human beings. And if someone's telling you that, oh, I never get hangovers, or I can drink like a fish, I can drink all night long and I don't feel anything in the morning. I mean, that's totally BS. It's not scientifically possible that people don't overdrink and don't get hangovers at some degree or another. Yeah, maybe it's just, simple dehydration, and you might have like a light headache or something like that. But in general, if you are a drinker like I was, you woke up feeling pretty much like crap every single day of your life. But it didn't matter, because you were certain and you were in control of alcohol. That was something that gave you control over your life. And so we make these excuses like, life's going to be boring, it's going to take a huge commitment, it's going to take these things, and we make it all up in our mind. And we make up a lot of stories in our mind, and we make up, our minds can play tricks on us. It's a tricky thing, because we like to tell ourselves lies. That's just it's the way that it is. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, if it's a something that it's built into our brains to kind of help us with life, denial, and those kinds of things. But at the same time, it's like, we have to be able to get to a point where we put our own minds in its place and start to figure out what the truth really is, uh, and do a deep dive into our mindset. Like we can't do that unless we give up alcohol 100%. if you're here and you're watching these videos, if you're tuning in live, welcome in. Um, and you know, those kinds of things can help us get to a better life. But we have to be able to figure out the truth, and to get to that point, and to be able to call out our drinking for what it is. It's a problem. And once we are able to do that, then we can kind of take a deep dive into our minds. And that's really where, I said in the video, and if you haven't watched that video, please check it out. Boredom. It's a worrisome thing about possibly quitting drinking and having a boring life. The truth is, it's far from boring. Owen says it best. He's a member, and he comments quite a bit on there. And he's also on my sober Facebook group, Sobriety in the Storm. And if you guys are interested in joining that, it's a private group. I pinned the link in all the videos that I in the comments section and all the videos that I do. But yeah, he says it best. I mean, it is far from boring. But when I look back on it, on when I quit, I was ready to be done. I wasn't finding any value in drinking anymore, and I was all in on quitting. I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it and not wean myself off of it, because I was drinking heavily at the beginning of the pandemic. I wasn't working. We were homeschooling, and my daughter was in kindergarten at that time. So the homeschooling was next to nothing. It was like an hour every morning. Then we can do that at our leisure. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. So I started drinking earlier and earlier every day, and I was drinking a lot, and I was drinking from, like, say, noon or 1 o'clock till 10, 11, 12 at night. So all day. So, half my existence I was inebriated, and the other half I was dealing with hangovers. And so I thought for sure that I was going to have to kind of wean myself off, or I would have withdrawal symptoms. But I got to a point where, I didn't drink for those couple days, because it was a bad hangover. I had a blow up at my family, and I had a bad hangover. My heart was racing. I was anxious. I was just, on edge, feeling guilty, feeling ashamed about my behaviors. And on that third day, I started to feel better finally. But by then I had found a book, a couple books, a group, a sober group, and I started spending time on there, posting stuff. I started reading on there that people were actually alcohol free for sometimes years, some of them just a few months. And when I got on there, my goal was to kind of just like be a regular drinker, be able to have one or two and be done. And then and try to do it that way. But the more I read, the more I started to realize these people are alcohol. They're not drinking at all. They're completely sober. And I'm already on day 3, and I feel good, and I'm feeling better. Why would I drink and go back to where I was? I don't want to do that. So I spent a lot of time posting on that sobriety group, and it was different. There's different things and different benefits to being in person, say at like an AA or some kind of a recovery meeting, and then online where it's at your fingertips all day and all night. And if you're from a place where there's not a lot of meetings in person like I am, you have to drive to places, and you're not familiar with them. It can seem like a daunting kind of a thing. Welcome, Ball Striker. Thank you. It can seem like a tough thing. It might keep you actually drinking, because just thinking about that makes you nervous. So for me, when I read This Naked Mind and I got to the end, and there was a website, thisnakedmind.com. I got on there. I joined the community, and it wasn't a huge community, but it was big enough to where I felt like there was people on there 24/7, and I was able to kind of uh, read their posts all day, but then also post something on my own share and then come back within a half an hour or an hour, and there were already multiple replies to my posts, and it was helpful. And at the same time, it wasn't, it wasn't boring. I didn't feel like I had time to be bored because first off, I mean, I have and had a home, a family, kids, dogs, and a lot of responsibilities. So whenever I had downtime, it wasn't boring. Like I used that time to watch a show that I liked, read a book that I liked, take a walk, or do whatever. And I never really felt like I was bored. Uh, but when I was drinking, especially for those 6 weeks into the pandemic, and I'd sit there and there was nothing to do. There was really no sports on. There was no shows on. There wasn't really much going on. And I thought, is this all there is? Like this is boring. Um, that really kind of shined a light on the fact that what, drinking is boring, and it's hard to see that when we're addicted and we're enjoying and we think that we're enjoying alcohol. It's hard to really see that. But once we get a little bit of time away from drinking, we can see that we kind of made excuses. Making the commitment isn't hard because you just have to make a commitment each day. You just have to, and they say it in AA, they say it in all recovery groups, but just focus on today. But it really is true, and that's one of the philosophies I do appreciate about those kinds of recovery groups, is that we don't have to think about a month from now or a year from now. We also don't have to dwell on what happened, last night or last week, or in some cases, like we dwell on stuff when we're drinking. We ruminate on things that happened months and years ago. In some cases, like I would talk about this in some of my videos. I was ruminating about stuff that happened when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. And I was ruminating about those things because they were things that I wouldn't say they were regrets, but they were things that I thought about, what if I did differently? You know what I mean? And had I not been drinking or doing drugs, would I have made a different choice? Or did those things happen to me because I was drinking and doing drugs? I carried all that guilt into my adulthood, and was still dwelling on those things. And even after I quit drinking and I started working on myself, and I started to recognize that, you know, I don't want to ruminate about that stuff anymore. And I was able to kind of start to work on that, but it didn't happen right away. And like you say, ball striker, the old cliche is one day at a time. It really does help to break it down that small. And we can even break it down smaller than that, like hour by hour, minute by minute. We need to, especially in the first month or two or three, when we're having these urges to drink, we have to be able to, and some people say ride out the urge or surf the urge. And yeah, we do need to surf it, but we need to surf it in a way that is going to benefit us. And that is community, that is having someone that you are in your life that you can talk to about what you're thinking and feeling, that makes you want to turn to alcohol to cope with it. It's not like we want to just go drink alcohol. I mean, yeah, I liked beer, I liked whiskey, I liked wine, I liked all kinds of booze. Uh, but it wasn't like I loved it, like I started to recognize that it was the alcohol in it that I was craving, that I loved about it. It was escaping my reality. It was using it to cope with my feelings, being able to just sweep those things under the rug or push them back far deep into my mind as to forget about them. And that was what I craved about alcohol. It wasn't the actual alcohol. So, um, So yeah, uh, when we are able to kind of figure out that we're kind of making these excuses and it's keeping us in addiction, then we're able to kind of work on it. But there isn't time to be bored when you're done with drinking and you spend that time focusing on getting through the urges, just not drinking, finding things that you actually enjoy doing besides drinking that are actually healthy for us. And when you are able to start to replace that drinking time with those things that bring you joy that are healthy, you start to rely on those things. And then it becomes a point where when you don't do that thing in the morning or whenever that is part of your routine, you feel like you're missing it, similarly to how you feel like you're going to miss out on a drinking session. Like, how many of us felt like we needed to drink today because we can't do it tomorrow, or it's too far away to think about getting to tomorrow? If that's how, like, if that's how you think, please let us know down in the comments. That is how I approached it, similar to like a child saying, like, I gotta play this game all day today because I might not have time tomorrow. So I need to get that in. It's similar to a mentality of a child. It's our security blanket. Alcohol is our solace. We use it just as a child would use a blankie, and ripping that band-aid off isn't it's not something that we want to think about, but it's so worth it when we get to that point. So some of you may be alcohol free. How many of you are alcohol free completely, and have some time under your belt? How many of you are, yeah, the fear of missing out on something? Absolutely. And some people are social drinkers. On this channel, I would say that it's a majority of people that just drink at home. But there are a percentage of you guys that do go to the bar and drink socially, and then there is a percentage of people that don't care. It doesn't matter as long as alcohol is involved. Fister, 1 year coming up. Congrats, that's awesome. And do you have any plans for your 1 year? You gonna celebrate it, or are you gonna do anything? So when I got to the 1 year mark, I got pretty nervous. When I when I got to about maybe a couple weeks before the 1 year, I thought, man, uh, I don't. First of all, I never liked celebrating anything really, for that matter, especially myself. But I didn't really ever like going to like celebrations either. So I just like I wasn't sure that I was going to celebrate my 1 year, and so yeah, welcome in, Josh. And so, what's a moderator? So when I got to that close to that 1 year, I was like, and I don't like celebrations. I thought I'm just going to get to this 1 year and probably just not celebrate it. Just kind of just go into it, deal with it like it's any other day, and then move on into the year. But then maybe a couple weeks before that 1 year, I started getting anxious. So I set up a therapy visit with the therapist that helped me get and stay sober, and I talked it out. And he's like, the milestone can be, triggering, because it gets you thinking about where you're at with your sobriety, with your life, and so I had maybe like a couple visits. I ultimately was able to celebrate it. My wife bought us a bottle of NA sangria. It was nasty. it was like probably, I mean, I wouldn't say it was the grossest thing I've ever had, but it certainly wasn't great. Um, but whatever, you know, it was the thought that counts. Our oldest daughter wrote me a note. It was like she got me a card celebrating and telling me how proud she was of me of my 1 year sobriety. My wife got me a card and she got me a little gift. It was like one of the little AA, well, not AA, but it was like one of the recovery with the triangle in it, keychain. And, you know, just it was like those little simple things that really kind of just shined a light on it. It wasn't big and grandiose. It was a little thing, but it made me feel good, you know, especially to hear that from my daughter. And she had written me a note like 10 years prior to that that just said, and she's my stepdaughter, but when I met my wife, she was 10, but she wrote me a note like when my wife and I first met, and like maybe we were engaged, and she said it said in there something similar to like you've been such a great inspiration, a great stepdad, a great, and thank you for being there for me and this and that. And it was awesome, and I kept that and I put that away, and then I got that note from her when I quit, and it was, you know, it makes you feel like you've accomplished something, you know. And I think that was my gateway into finding like joy in celebrating people, but also celebrating myself, because um you know, it's like we should be able to do that. You know, we should be able to give ourselves a pat on the back. We should be able to celebrate a milestone without feeling like we want to hide from it. And that's really what happened to me after I turned to alcohol when I was 15. Was I went into my cave, and I didn't want to deal with life. I didn't want to deal with anybody, with people, and I didn't want to celebrate me because I didn't feel like there was anything to celebrate. Like I wasn't that special. And there were times over those years that I gave myself a false sense of that, of being special, but like I wasn't really able to really fully ever get there until I put alcohol down and um, started to accomplish things, and got some time under my belt. Like another thing is the milestones for AA. I do think that the milestones are important. I am a numbers person. I look at numbers like stats and things like that, and I like those when those numbers accumulate, and you can give it a time frame. That was helpful for me, and I talked about it in one of my videos recently, where uh, it's, you know, I counted days up until like 13 or 1400. And I got on, and I don't go on This Naked Mind much anymore, but I still have the app, and I still get on there maybe every month or two and just kind of read through some of the people. There's only maybe like one or two people that post regularly that were from my original group 5 years ago. So we've all kind of went our separate ways. A lot of them I kept in contact with uh, up until I was kind of like moving away from that group. We still did Zoom meetings, things like that, but once I started this channel and started my own Facebook group, that kind of I don't know, it just, and there was some things missing in that too as well. I mean, uh, like I talked about last week, my faith played a pivotal role. Um, the moderator will allow you to do your show without concern to what is going on in the chat. Moderator can time out or block the BS comments. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I can turn the comments off, but yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Um, yeah, that might help. That might help. Like I said, I'm kind of new to the live streams. I mean, I've been doing them probably for 4 or 5 months now, but um, But yeah, I might try different styles, different techniques, things like that. So yeah, thanks for the insight. Um, and yeah, so where was I? Uh, yeah, celebrating the milestones, I guess, was where I was. But yeah, so I hope you're able to celebrate that 1 year Fister with just whatever it is that makes you feel like you've accomplished something, because that's a huge thing. Um, and I love hearing stories like yours. I love to hear uh, how long it's been that you've had alcohol. Like I said, there's a lot of people that go back and they try to drink, but like 99% of the time it seems like people come back and say, like, I wish I wouldn't have done that. So I don't ever say that I'm not going to drink again, but I do also think that why would I? You know what I mean? Like, I alcohol at the end brought me nothing but misery. So there wasn't really any benefit to it anymore. But I mean, I drank heavily all through the from 15 all the way to 42, and um, I really just felt like it was either going to be it was going to kill me, or I was going to figure a way out of it eventually. But pretty much on a weekly basis, I would think, I'm either all in or all out on this. And by the time I got to the point where I was like all out on it, it was like that was it. I'm doing good, Christian. How are you doing today? Welcome in. So yeah, I'm heading to work here in a few minutes, but I wanted to check in with you guys, see how you're doing today. If you are interested in becoming a member, I'd encourage you to do so. Um, I also have a Facebook group, like I said earlier. You can find the link to that um, in the comments for all my videos. And yeah, I guess check out the video I posted this morning. I'll have another video on Sunday. And yeah, let's have a great rest of our week. Stay alcohol free. Yes, I'm in Michigan. Whereabouts in Florida are you? As you can see, we got a rainy day. Fall is set in here. I well, we had pretty much like 70s all the way through until like last week, and then it started to get cool. So fall set in here. But yeah, doing some good fall stuff, and yeah, so Orlando. All right, awesome. Well, welcome in, and I'm glad that you guys jumped on here. Hey, Matt, Cardiff, South Wales. Nice. You guys get a lot of rainy days there, don't you? I looked into Wales at some point. I don't remember why I was looking into Wales, but um, it looks like a nice place, though. I mean, but it looks like a lot of rain, but that's fine. Peaceful and quiet, like serenity. I like serene places. When I went up north Michigan, I realized just how busy it is pretty much until you get like 2 or 3 hours north in Michigan. It's just it's crazy driving out here, and that's what I do for my job is drive. So so whenever I can get out and get up there or get places where it's like it's calm, that's what I like. So yeah, but I bet it's peaceful there. It looks like a nice place. But yeah, we'll check back in next Wednesday. Um, and as always, you can check in with me on the channel and on Facebook. So we'll talk to you guys later, and have a great sober day, everybody.